Hey, social media family, I want to share a very powerful encounter that I recently had with the Lord. I was just really diving deep in the place of prayer, and I really encourage everybody to spend some extra time with the Lord. And when I say diving deep, I mean, as I was praying, I really was leaning in to the Lord and really just praying about a lot of things in my own personal life, in our nation, the city that I live in, over all of our ministries and businesses. And I just really was just feeling the presence of God in a strong way, stronger than usual. And it's just like all of a sudden the Lord spoke to me and said, the King's presence. And I just kind of said, okay, the King's presence. I just sat there and I just kept praying, and the Holy Spirit just really started speaking to me about that a lot of people, what they're lacking in life is the King's presence. And what you need to know is the King himself is about to come on the scene. And when the King comes in, everything changes. How many times have you been watching movies that were like in the medieval times, and everybody would be around, and when the King would walk in, everybody would bow down to him? Or he would walk in a room where the military was, and they would all stand up and salute him, or they would give honor to him. Every knee will bow for the King. And so what I want you to understand is your situation, your circumstance, everything, the King's presence is about to show up. And I knew that was a good word, but I knew that that wasn't all of it. So I kept leaning in and said, all right, Lord, I know there's a greater revelation. I know there is more to this word than just the King's presence. And then the Holy Spirit started just revealing this to me, that when the King is present, the King will also pay attention to what is going on. And I want you to know for a fact, 100% truth, that the King cares about you. He cares about every detail of your life, and you have the King's attention. And as I just kept praying, this word just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and the Lord started showing me how the Holy Spirit was so real that people don't actually maximize the use of the Holy Spirit, that people don't use for their full advantage of the reason that God sent the Holy Spirit. You got to understand, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit are always there for you. And it's just like, as I kept praying, I just saw glimpses of things like just the King stepping into a room and everything changing. The King stepping into businesses and they started to thrive. The King started stepping into marriages and they were restored. The King stepped into ministries that were failing, and things start to just succeed again. You know, when the King comes in and the King speaks, he also speaks with the authority of the King and makes the declarations and decrees. And you have to understand that when a king speaks something, you really can't question it. That's just how it is. And so whatever the King is about to speak over your life, you have to take it to heart. Remember all the things that he's called you to do. Remember the heart of the King, and he is going to speak according to the heart and the visions and the words that he has given you. My friends, it's an exciting time. And I really felt that this word was really meant for encouragement for a lot of people who are tired and weary, but the presence of the King is going to be there. Now also, like when my kids will call for me, like, hey Dad, can you come here for a minute? You know, I go in there, and I really feel like the Lord said, as a loving Father, as a loving King, when you have requested his presence, he will be there. It's like he's looking for an invitation for you to invite him to step into whatever you're going through right now. And understand that when the King steps in, when you have the presence of the King, everything, and I mean everything, starts to change.